What's up, YouTube? Welcome to Cars, Costs, and Technology. Today I want to talk to you guys about 5 easy steps to get a better price on your next car purchase from a dealership. Now, many of you actually requested this video in the comments section on some of my other Corvette videos. Obviously, with this channel being primarily about my Corvette, I'm going to show images of it throughout the video. But keep in mind that these principles and techniques that I'm going to talk about will save you money on pretty much any type of car purchase. It doesn't have to be a Corvette. With there being many other videos online about tips and tricks for dealing with dealerships, I wanted to kind of put my twist on it as well as summarize it all together into one video for you guys, like I've done so with other topics in the past. I'm going to be sharing what's worked for me and what hasn't worked for me in the past when buying my cars. So let's go ahead and jump into my list. The number one thing that I want to talk to you guys about is making sure that you separate out all of the negotiations involved with buying the new car. So obviously make sure that you spend time focusing on what the final price will be and how much you're going to get off the sticker. Take separate time and energy to focus on what you're going to be getting on your trade-in if you're trading in your old car. And then also, once those are determined, then look into the financing terms. Make sure that you know that you're getting a good interest rate and that the term that you choose is good for you. Too many people focus on just strictly the monthly payment and what they're going to be having to come out of pocket for their down payment, so they kind of lose focus on those other three important categories like final price, trade-in value, and financing terms, just simply if the dealership is able to flash a monthly payment in front of them that they like and very little out of pocket to get started. So like I said, guys, you want to make sure that you maximize on each of those three categories. We're going to dive into each individually. So number two we're going to talk about is getting the best final price that you possibly can. In order to get the most discount off the sticker price, I've listed a few things here that have worked for me in the past, like negotiating the final price over the phone. That seems to be helpful for me. As a younger buyer, they seem to take me more serious over the phone than in person. It's also important to know which options are vital to you and which ones aren't. Obviously, if you're buying a car that has a lot of options, the sticker price is going to be marked way up. If those options aren't important to you, you could be saving a lot of money by going with a model that's closer to base. It's also important to know the various values of the vehicle that you're buying. That way you know once you purchase it what you could sell it for private party if you ended up needing to sell it down the road or trade it in down the road. You don't want to end up buying a car that the private party sale value or trade-in value is significantly less than end up being upside down on it if you did end up needing to sell it in, say, 6 months to a year. It's also important to know what other dealerships around you have available, not only for price shopping reasons, but to make sure if you can't come to a deal with that dealership, there's others available that you can go after. Now, the last thing that I want to mention is probably one of the more important ones in the modern car buying world, and that is it's important to not only ask the dealership what they can do for you, as far as giving you a cheaper price, but let them know, that you have something to offer them. You can, if you're a repeat customer, or maybe you've got friends and family that you could refer to them. Maybe you have a social media presence. When I purchased my Corvette, I made sure that I mentioned to them that I have a YouTube channel talking about Corvettes. And, granted, I don't have a huge following like some YouTubers, but it could make a difference on somebody purchasing a Corvette at their dealership. So make sure that you let them know what you have to offer them and why they should be giving you a discount on the car. Next thing that we'll talk about is getting the most for your trade-in. Now, obviously, this is going to be a little different depending on what kind of car you're trading in and how much you want for it. But one thing that should apply to pretty much any car you're trading is make sure you detail the car and gather up all your service records. That way, the car is the most presentable it can be. I think too many people accidentally just walk onto the lot, spontaneously get a quote on their car, and obviously it's going to be less than it would be if it's in the best condition you can get it with all the available information. So make sure you do that. You also want to look up the values on the car and make sure that you know exactly what the car could sell for if you were to sell it private party. Make sure you know approximately what the trade-in value should be. There's a lot of tools to do this. Obviously, you could use Kelley Blue Book, NADA. Some of those aren't exactly what the dealers use, but they're still valuable for a reference point for you. And obviously, last thing I have listed here is remember not to discuss the trade-in value while you discuss the sticker price on the new car you're buying. Sometimes the lines can get a little grayed there, and they can be tacking on to the new car you're buying, but adding more to the trade-in value. So obviously, you don't want to go backwards in either category. Make sure you negotiate each of them separately. Next thing we'll talk about is getting to the financing terms that you want. If you're not going to be financing the car, obviously you can pretty much just skip this section of the video, but if you are and you're a relatively inexperienced buyer, this can be a very stressful portion of the car buying process. I know it was for me when I bought my first car. I pretty much spent the entire time nervous whether or not I was going to be able to get approved just because I was so young. But now that I've had a few experiences under my belt, I want to go ahead and share with you guys what's worked for me in the past. Getting approval from your bank or credit union can be very helpful, just simply because you know that you've got the financing lined up already. They're only going to put one hard inquiry on your credit report rather than doing multiple like the dealership would. You also have a chance to go ahead and see what your potential interest rate would be, as well as what your monthly payment could be, what your loan terms available are. That way you know all that information before you even go into the dealership. You don't have to stress about financing. You can just think about getting the best price on the car possible. You can also figure out if the dealership is charging too much for the car, if the loan to value ratio is too high. You're also sometimes able to leverage what your bank has offered you with the dealership and see if they can beat it. So maybe you can get a lower interest rate, but you just need to use that to get the dealership to offer you the rock bottom rather than them offering you something higher than they could potentially offer just because there's no other competition there. And it also, for me, has helped in the past making sure that dealership knows that I do actually have the ability to purchase the car I'm asking them about. Sometimes they won't give you the time that you deserve if they feel like maybe you're not qualified to buy the car. So it's important to show them that you already have financing lined up. That way they understand they are working with a serious buyer. Also remember to look out for additional packages they're going to try to sell you, like warranties and other upcharges. You want to be very careful of that because that can really impact your final price if you're not careful and you add those on without thinking carefully. The last thing I want to talk about is probably one of the most difficult, but that's just keeping your cool, staying calm and collected throughout the car buying process. I know it can be stressful or exciting. You know, if you're a car enthusiast, this should be a really fun and exciting time for you, but you're not going to be able to make wise decisions if you're anxious or overwhelmed. You know, remember that they want to sell you this car as much as you want to purchase it. I think sometimes as car enthusiasts, we get a little fixated on the car and think that, you know, we're the only ones that are benefiting from this transaction and end up doing something that we wouldn't normally do. So remember, they want to sell this to you really badly. Don't panic if that deal is falling through or the car that you think that was perfect for you isn't working out. There's going to be plenty of other deals out there, and cars typically over time just go down in value. So chances are, even if you wait a few months, you're going to be able to purchase it even less than what it would have been if the deal did line up just the way that you wanted it to. And you want to make sure that you don't get emotionally attached on the test drive. I'm sure you heard that before, but it's really important that you don't get super excited in the test drive and just feel like this is it, I have to buy this car. You know, stay calm, keep your cool until you're able to negotiate the price that you want. Then you can start to show a little more excitement, enthusiasm about the car. And you know, the last thing I listed here is kind of what I mentioned earlier. Just have fun while car shopping. You know, as car enthusiasts, car shopping should be one of the funnest things that we get to do, and it's something that I look forward to every time that it rolls around. So make sure that you don't rob yourself of the fun and the experience of shopping for a new car just because of the stress. The more research and planning you can do on your own time, the better off you'll be at the dealership and the more fun you can have looking at new cars and test driving them. So anyway, guys, these are some things that have helped me in the past. I hope that they're valuable to you and they help you in your car buying process. Feel free to put in the comments section anything that you've done in the past to get a good deal on a car. And as always, guys, I appreciate your feedback and your support. I hope that you enjoyed the video. Please give it a like if you did and subscribe to the channel for more. Have a great day.